This project explores global trends in the informal sector's growth between the 1990 and 2020. Data was sourced from the World Bank's Informal Economy database, specifically the Dynamic General Equilibrium Model-based estimates of the informal output as a share of official GDP and self-employment as a share of total employment. These measures offer the most comprehensive coverage across countries and years. However, the analysis focuses on 69 countries with the complete data for the entire period. The data was then sorted by the growth of the averages of both measures between the 1990 to 1995 and 2016 to 2020. A large informal sector presents challenges for policymakers. It leads to lost tax revenues, rising wealth inequality, economic vulnerability, limited access to capital, low productivity growth, unfair competition, and difficulties in policy formulation. The lack of regulatory oversight and social protection in the informal sector exacerbates these issues, hindering sustainable and inclusive economic development. Sorting by the self-employment share growth reveals Kenya with the highest informal sector increase. Between 1990 and 1995 and 2016 to 2020, self-employment skyrocketed by 42 percentage points from 43.6% to 85.51%. However, the sector's share of GDP declined slightly from 30.24% to 26.45%. This implies a significant shift. In 1990 to 1995, 56.4% of formal sector employees contributed 69.76% of total output. In 2016 to 2020, a paltry 14.49% of the formal sector workers contributed a whopping 73.55% of output. This suggests a potential benefit for Kenya from business formalization. The observed pattern could indicate a declining informal sector productivity, rising formal sector productivity, or underreporting of informal sector output. Additionally, such a high share of self-employment might signify a preference for its flexibility and potential for personal growth over formal employment. Following Kenya is Bolivia, with a 20 percentage point increase in self-employment share from 44.85% to 64.83%. Colombia and China also saw significant rises, with the proportions increasing by 20 and 14 percentage points, respectively. Conversely, Ethiopia, Turkey, and Botswana experienced the largest reductions in self-employment share. Notably, 19 of the 69 countries analyzed saw an increase in their share of informal employment as measured by self-employment. When sorted by the growth of informal sector's share of GDP, Ukraine, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela experienced the highest increases. Interestingly, in Zimbabwe, 60% of the output is generated by the informal sector, with 67.57% of workers employed within it. Conversely, Panama, Sri Lanka, and Peru showed the largest declines in informal sector GDP share. It's worth noting that only 4 of the 69 countries, that is, Ukraine, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and Russia, saw an increase in their informal sector share of GDP. Addressing high informality through targeted policies and interventions is therefore crucial. These interventions should promote formalization, improve labor conditions, and enhance the overall economic environment. Formalization of businesses could lead to significant gains by addressing the aforementioned challenges. However, it is important to consider that formalization might introduce regulatory burdens and costs that could stifle the growth and productivity gains associated with formalizing small and micro businesses. Thank you for your time. The next episode will focus on a global analysis of export and import of arms. Until then, goodbye.